Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more pattern testing here, and I think we've got something really interesting to test out today. We are going to be patterning some buckshot here for the first time on the channel. I've been wanting to pattern some buckshot for a good while now and finally got together what I think is going to be the best or easiest way to give you guys a reference for what we're looking at as far as pattern goes as well, thanks to you guys in the community post that I put out about a week ago or so. For the load that we're going to be testing today, I dug in the ammo cabinet and found some of these guys, the Winchester Supreme, a little bit old school load here. These are a 12 gauge 3-inch double-aught buck 12 pellet load going 1450 feet per second, so they say, but I do have the chronograph, so we will be running it across the chronograph to see how accurate that is. And these are supposedly high velocity copper plated lead pellets in these shells. But as for our setup that we're going to be running them out of, I've got my Remington 1187 Premier out again, but for those of you that normally watch the channel, I put a scope on this finally without the saddle mount on there. I know a lot of you guys commented and said you don't like the saddle mount, and it wasn't ideal, but it was what I had to work with. But I finally drilled and tapped it and put a scope on. This is a loopholed VX1. It's a 2-7 by 28. It is technically a rimfire scope, so before anybody comments, I'm well aware of the issues that can arise putting a rimfire scope on anything centerfire or shotgun related. But the loopholed stuff is built to the same internal qualities and stuff like that, using the same components as all the rest of their rifle and shotgun scopes. So I decided to put this on because number one, it's what I had on the shelf. Number two, it fit as far as size wise goes. And number three, I wanted to test this to see if a rimfire scope would hold up. So far, it's been just fine sighting it in. So I don't know that we're gonna have a problem with it, but just know this is for testing so we can see how long this is going to hold up on a shotgun. But for the choke that I decided to go with, I put the stock full choke in the gun. It's a 688 constriction full choke. I've got my target set up down at 40 yards, so it's going to be a 40-yard shot. I'm going to take the shot, show you guys the chronograph numbers, since there's really not going to be a whole lot you can actually see on the paper down there. But then we'll go down and take a look at our overall pattern on our board. And then I've made some cutout templates that we can just lay right over top of our target and see exactly where our pellets are going. But either way, let's get set up over here. I'll set you guys up at the chronograph so you can see what velocity we get and shoot them and see how they do. Alright, so that round gave us 1,403 feet per second. The box called for 1,450, so we're 47 feet per second under what the box called for. Alright, so this is what we got down here at 40 yards with those Winchester Supreme double-aught buck shells. Now those were 12 pellet shells, and we do indeed have all 12 of our pellets right here on the paper. It is kind of a string from left to right across the page there, which is kind of interesting. However, I definitely don't think that's bad at all for 40 yards double-aught buck like that. Without even putting the template over it, that'll absolutely take you a deer or a hog or anything like that, for sure. But speaking of templates, let me go get some of our templates set up on here, so that way maybe some of you guys can have a better reference point when looking at something like this. Okay, so first up here we have a 10-inch circle, and I placed it in about as ideal of a spot as we can get. It is a little bit left if you look at the overall pattern, but ideally we have 6 pellets in that 10-inch circle, which would absolutely do the job for a deer or hog or anything like that. Alright, next up we have a 30-inch circle, and as you can see we have all 12 pellets within that 30-inch circle here. Don't mind this one little mark right here, that's just from where I clipped our 10-inch circle on. But if you're looking for a 30-inch circle, all 12 pellets are within a 30-inch circle right there. And now we have our deer template up here. We have his neck just coming up to the right over here with his front leg down there. So we have 11 out of the 12 pellets within that vital range on that deer. There's one pellet hidden right over here behind this gray template. So if you were lined up just like this, you would have got 11 out of the 12 within that deer. And that would have absolutely knocked that deer down, no question about that. Alright, and here is a rough hog template here. And once again, we have 11 out of our 12 pellets within that vital range there. We do have the one pellet right over here that's hiding right off the edge of the template. But overall, that would absolutely do the job on a hog too. And I tried to size this template to about the average size hog. It's a little bit bigger than some of the small ones, but it's definitely nowhere near as big as what it could be for those of you down south and in the Midwest that hunt hogs all the time. Maybe you can get a reference too as to how these loads did. Definitely deadly for hog as well. Alright y'all, well overall, what do you think about those old Winchester Supreme double-aught buck loads? As you can see, we've got all 12 pellets on the paper at 40 yards here, so you could definitely take a deer or a hog or anything else that you might want to use buckshot for out to 40 yards, definitely. And you could probably push this out to 50 and maybe 60 if you did testing with your shotgun to see how it performed. Just have to be careful and know your energy and your penetration once you get out that far. But either way, as you could see by our templates, we've got good numbers in our 10-inch circle. We've got all of them in a 30, and we have an absolutely dead deer and an absolutely dead hog as well. But leave a comment and let me know what you think about it. Have you used these loads before? I know it's definitely a little bit of an old school type of load. And let me know as well how you guys like using the templates like that. Is that a little bit better way to portray how they did on the paper? A little bit easier for you guys to see, or a better reference point? But on that note, we've got some dark storm clouds rolling in again. It's been raining for the last like 5 days, so I'm gonna pack my stuff up real quick before I get downpoured on. Stick around and stay tuned because we've got plenty more tests coming. I've got several other buckshot loads as well that we're gonna be testing. So with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next one.